Professional streamers! Okay. At 55 minutes. Hey everyone, it's Mxiety. I'm on tonight with Video Game Diva. Say hi, Diva.
Hi.
On this show, we talk about mental health, and what that means is people come on and share their stories and what it's like to live with their particular mental health concerns. And in that, we all feel a little bit less alone. So the idea is that we all hold a discussion and a conversation between us and chat. So come on over and join us, always, always. But if you are not here right now and you're listening to this later, just know that we love you anyway. Thank you so much. Video Game Diva, we're going to start right from the very beginning. Well, as far back as you want to go, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'll kind of try and do Cliff's Notes, but I'm a storyteller. So, since I can remember, I've always enjoyed all forms of entertainment, whether it's theater, acting, singing, dancing, movies, all of the above. And I was kind of always the black sheep of my family. My family liked music and my grandpa did like dancing, but my family was very practical. And a lot of them also were into sports and like normal things, I guess. And so I was just always encouraged to have a backup plan, which is not necessarily a bad idea, but it did used to frustrate me when that idea was shoved down my throat. And the passions that I had were always told that they were like too much or too out there. So my parents divorced when I was 10, and I went through a big ordeal where my mom came out. And actually, it was one of the best things that happened because my parents fought all the time and I wasn't happy with it. And that was when I noticed that my family cared more about the things that were happening versus what was happening to me. I was only 10 years old.
Right.
And they asked if I needed help to talk about my mom being gay. And I was like, no, I need help about my parents divorcing.
That's the only thing that makes sense in this whole situation.
Right. And I actually signed myself up for a class at school for parents that are divorced.
Wow.
Kids with parents that are divorced. And that was in like 5th grade. So that was my first experience ever with any kind of like counseling. And I was 10 and signed myself up for it. My family just, between having a mixture of agnostic and atheists in my family, there never has really been like open conversation about anything. My family just kind of were what they were, and I've had to figure things out for myself, which is a double-edged sword. So then in high school, I went to a career center for radio and TV, and then I was also in musicals. So I was always continuing to try and do that kind of stuff. I went to a very small high school and it was a very small pond, but there was still, typical drama, whatever.
Sure.
And then I moved to California right out of high school. Before that, I was like on a dance team. I was still trying to do all that stuff. And then California was really scary. I was 19 and I made really good connections. I worked at a movie trailer company.
Wow.
I knew people at IGN, the Internet Gaming Network. I finally started getting back into video games again because I loved them my whole life. But I really was like starting to get my true passion for video games and like the nostalgia. That's when like a lot of the retro games kind of started coming back and people would, mod their Dreamcasts or other platforms to be able to play the retro games. And so I moved back to Ohio, where I'm from. And I enrolled in college for digital audio and video production. And so the idea was to work more behind the scenes because I started feeling too much pressure in front of the scenes. And I'm an outgoing person, if you can't tell. I enjoy talking.
A little bit, yeah.
But in California, it was a whole different ball of wax. And I was very green and I had no idea what I was doing. And that was actually when I first started experiencing any kind of anxiety. I definitely, like looking back, had noticed little episodes where I'd like get in my head and I'd overthink and I'd have like little mini panic attacks when I'd have too much caffeine because I worked at Starbucks and I'd never had espresso before. And so I'd actually have to take breaks at work from that. So then I entered college and this is going to get a little deep. I dated my college professor. And that is when I had my first panic attack because I went to school full time. I was dating him and he was a sociopath. And I worked full-time 3rd shift. And I had my first episode at work when him and I got in a fight over text message and my whole half of my face went numb. And they actually had to call the paramedics. Oh. So that's finally when I went and I met with a doctor and I got prescribed and I was told that I have anxiety, diagnosed. And really the meds never did much. But soon after I became pregnant, a quarter before I was about to graduate from college, and all my plans changed. So this is all important, obviously, because that is when I became a single mom. He basically begged me for an abortion. He slandered my name at the college and with all of our friends. He was, like I said, if anyone's familiar, I don't want to go too far into it, but if you're aware of what a sociopath is, I didn't at the time know it, but he lied to me consistently. He was actually married, I found out. He had a kid that he lied about his kid's age. He was dating other students. He was just, and I'd been through so many relationships where, because of like what I talked about, my family stuff, my family never really believed in me. They never really there for me very often. I was doing a lot myself. And so I was always looking for that attention in the next partner.
Yeah.
And he was one of those guys that said everything I wanted to hear, but never followed through with it. So when I became when I became a single mom, that was when I started on my path to actually regaining my confidence in myself, because I wasn't just focusing on myself anymore. I had to take care of this other human being.
Right.
I'd never been around babies before. I had never, I babysat like kids, but I'd never been around babies. And I was doing this alone. I ended up in another relationship where I was kept a secret. And I became in these back-to-back relationships with men who either kept me secret or they didn't support me for what I wanted. I tried to move on to photography because I got ostracized from the film community because of that person. Mm-hmm. And photography went great because I was doing it on my own. But the partner at the time didn't believe in my photography. So then I'll fast forward a little bit so we can...
You don't have to fast forward anything, girl. This is your story. You tell it exactly as you want to tell it.
So a couple of people later, I have my oldest full-time. I'm trying to say it quietly because he's upstairs, but he knows a little bit about it, but he's never met his birth father. Mm-hmm. And he actually agreed. We had multiple court visitations, and he agreed to lower child support to not meet his son. And those are the only times that I'm the most confident, but it's also the times that are most scary because they're the most uncertain, which I'm sure anybody with anxiety, the unknown is the most scary.
Right.
And I was willing to pay any amount of money and go into any amount of debt to protect my kid and to make sure that he did not end up with this sociopath. Right. Because he actually at one point asked for supervised visitation. But then once he realized how much it was going to cost, he changed his mind. So I could have been financially stable, but then my child would have been in this person's life that is not a good person. And I believe in a child being with both parents. But in this situation, it was different. So the next person I dated helped me raise him, kind of. And then we had my youngest. He was the one that really, he'd make fun of me. He was the worst. The sociopath was bad, but this one, because there was more actual love and there was more support, as in like living together and getting a house together and growing together. He made fun of me all the time. He called my Batman tattoo white trash and childish. I went through, sorry if I'm saying anything triggering, by the way. This was like
it is plus 18 and the expectation is that it is a mental health stream. So you go in knowing.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So I went through a lot of emotional abuse, basically. It didn't matter what I was doing. He didn't believe in my photography. He worked all the time, expected food on the table, me to be his Susie homemaker lady. And that is not me, if any of you know me. I look at my hair anyway. So
1950s called They Don't Want You.
Right? I like the dancing and the music, but besides that, so I'd been wanting to get out of the relationship, but I felt stuck.
Of course. And
I felt like I couldn't be myself. I was on a radio station at that time, and they pushed me back as well. I was doing voiceovers, and I was even interviewing as the video game diva at the time on the morning show, doing a video game segment, which I was doing for free because it was obviously great publicity. I was trying to start a blog. I got a job at a video game store. I was going to get games from them to review. So it was starting to finally work well. And he thought it was all a hobby.
Sure.
At the same time, the ex heard about it and thought that I had all of these jobs now and tried to take me back to court because he thought that he could pay less money. So literally, it was just always so much at once going on. And not having anyone that I felt like truly believed in who I was. So finally, I started going to therapy. I got a therapist.
That's awesome.
And
Can I ask you, because
yeah,
people always ask me, the next question is like, how were you able to afford it, or like through what means were you able to go to,
I
did you
had
just pay
Medicaid. I had
Medicaid?
Medicaid.
Okay.
And so I only had a certain amount of visits that I could have without having to pay. I would think it was like 10 visits in a year, which obviously is nothing. And
It's
honestly,
better than nothing, but
right, right.
yeah, yeah.
And so I convinced him to go with me. And this is like when it really, I mean, I already knew, like, it gets to that point where you can't change a person. They have to want to do the things themselves to become a better person, and they have to want to make those changes. And I never tried to change him, but therapy was like the last resort. And she came up with, she wanted us to say 5 reasons why we loved each other, and then 3 things that we would like to fix about our situation.
Mm-hmm.
His number one reason, it took him a week to get back to me. He texted it to me. Mind you, we lived together. His number one reason was my boobs.
So really, really deep stuff. Really thinking.
Super deep stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was already pretty much fed up by that point, but that was when I really started to recognize my postpartum depression.
Okay.
And I'd had it with a previous child, but he told me, I'd bring up depression, and he'd be like, well, I'm depressed too. It's not my fault if your family doesn't love you. He would say things like that to me when I'd get upset.
Oh my goodness.
Because I have, the issues with feeling like my family doesn't really care about me. They kind of do their own thing. They're always too busy. I feel like me and my kids are a burden. I never get invited to anything, et cetera, et cetera. And so I slept on the couch for 2 months. We lived in a house together. We were never married. And his name was on everything. And I moved out. The therapy helped a lot because she helped me realize that I've kind of always been really self-aware, but I've always been really hard on myself. And she helped me realize that the way things were going, he wasn't on a path to changing, and he wasn't willing to go to any more therapy sessions, and nothing had changed. Like, I even got to the point where I was actually recording our arguments.
Oh my
gosh. I was sitting in a Starbucks listening to music, and I had one of our recorded arguments come up from 2 years previous, and it literally, I could have like put the arguments of the previous week next to each other, and it was the same.
Okay.
Nothing had changed.
Got it. Yeah.
And so I realized I needed to make a change, even as scary as it was. And so I moved in with my mom and my sister.
Ooh, okay.
And,
this is the setup for a very bad rom-com, like a very.
My life could literally be a film, and I've debated on it. I'm not kidding.
Just freaking do it. If I've learned anything, just freaking write it, and then you'll see if you'll have it if somebody's like, "Hey, this should be a movie," and you're like, "You're the right person here. Have this thing."
Well, I mean, my mom's ex, she was a cop at a jail, and that's a whole nother story, because she was the kind of person that, because I'm a picky eater, she told me I must have been bulimic or anorexic. She would accuse me of doing drugs or having sex just to try to get me to admit to it. She, at one point, openly admitted that she went to school for psychology, and that she would do reverse psychology on purpose.
Cool.
As a teenager.
Cool.
So,
Oh,
like, literally, like, whole adolescence was these adults, like, telling me how to be, or questioning who I was, not ever supporting me in who I was.
Right. Just constantly being, just constantly not. There's never a certainty about who you are. There's never anybody helping you find that. And so when we don't have that foundation built and we have to build it ourselves, we end up we're more likely to make mistakes that maybe like somebody else's family could have walked them through and made sure they didn't make. And it's tough. I'm also a fellow shitty parent club person with divorced parents and stuff.
They weren't necessarily shitty. They just were uninvolved, and they were selfish.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, my mom's ex, she was literally an alcoholic, and gambled my mom's money away and forged. Like, my mom could have sent that woman to jail if she wanted to. But again, my mom, I took a lot of traits of my mom. We're doormats. We care too much about taking care of other people before we take care of ourselves. And actually, at that time, I did a lot of writing, a lot of poetry, a lot of music. Music was like my therapy for myself. I was into a lot of, this is kind of where my name Diva came from. I was into a lot of Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and then Christina Aguilera, Beyonce. So diva became a thing for me. And it's funny because even my family, and at the time in like the 2000s, diva was a negative connotation. So I'm trying to take that back and make it a positive connotation, that diva is a strong, empowered woman who's trying to make a change in the world.
Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I
So,
love that.
so what my therapist, like at one point, she even said she was amazed that I somehow was able to have the perseverance to get through things and not end up on a worse path. Because I was around alcoholism, I was around a lot of things that, of non-support. And so then let's fast forward a little bit. Basically, my ex and I fought a lot. He ended up getting engaged after 7 months after we broke up. And we were together for 4 years and had a kid, and he would never even talk marriage with me. So that was a little bit of a hit. But again, my therapist at the time helped me think about the fact that just because somebody is getting married or they're moving on, number one, I'm happy I'm not with him.
Right.
Two, it doesn't mean he's happy, and it doesn't mean that she's happy.
Right.
So it's,
right.
it's
Nor is that a reflection on you
right.
in any shape or form, what they're doing.
Right. And so then I kind of jumped right back into dating, and I ran into this guy from high school that had very similar things to me. We both loved video games. He was passionate. He was funny. And he had a really tattered past as well. And so that didn't last very long. But he did help me kind of reignite my love for video games. And I was starting to get interested again in doing podcasts or reviews because I had lost a job at the video game store. They went out of business when I was pregnant with my youngest. So I started to like look back into it. I contacted a friend of mine, and I found out that you could stream from your PlayStation 4 with a camera.
Yeah.
Because I talked to him previously and my friends at another video game store, but they had only told me the computer specs that I needed.
Mm-hmm. So and you were like, I don't have those.
Right, when I was told I needed like $1,200, I was too focused on my photography business at the time because that's really the only way I was making money.
Right.
Like, I had to find the babysitter. I moved to a new location to good schools for my kids, and I had to figure everything out completely on my own. I didn't have any help from anyone. And so then we didn't end up working out. He texted me from the basement to break up with me and then left cold turkey after a year and a half of dating.
For fuck's sake, people I know. And okay, the summary of the story is that people suck. I totally get that. But like some people exceptionally find great ways to suck extra. That's all.
And so this was one of the first times I ever stood up for myself during a breakup. And I was like, so basically what you're telling me is you don't have big enough balls to break up with me to my face.
Right.
And so that's when I started finding that confidence again. Here comes emotional support kitty.
Emotional support kitty. She knows. She knows. She's like, ooh, this got very heated. I got to come over there.
It's okay, Sega. Her name is Sega, by the way.
Oh my gosh, that's the best.
So then I kind of, again, that relationship was like, it was done for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he would push me off of him whenever I would try to be anything. So I knew it was done for a while, but it was the fact that like a year and a half, and I was paying for everything. I was paying for rent. I asked him to help with my kid, and he
get the fuck out of here, freeloader. Oh my god. Yeah. The women will go through so much. I mean, like, I know guys put up with a lot of stuff. I don't want to take that away from anybody. Totally. Guys are in shitty relationships too, but I find that, like, it's so common for women to be like, yeah, but, like, it's totally fine. Like, of course I have to support him. This is what people do. We support each other. Like, that idea.
I'm a Virgo. I'm a mom. It's like, I was a single mom with 2 kids, and here's this guy that keeps quitting these jobs.
Yeah.
Can't hold a steady job, makes excuses.
You basically became his mother. You're like, I'm mothering. I can mother this person. Totally. If you find that your use is taking care of other people, if you find yourself most useful when you do that, and that is where you get your validation from.
That's where I got my validation. Exactly.
Yeah. Then you're like, I will literally raise you. No problem. Yeah. Until you're like, wait, this is exhausting and I don't want to do this.
And I'm pretty sure he cheated on me. It was never validated, but he was getting text messages from other women. Because he'd come back from his friend's houses drunk, and his phone would be laying there, and I would see the girl's text messages coming up on his phone. So then basically at that point, we broke up cold turkey. About 2 months in, I started dating again. Dated one guy for a little bit, but he didn't want to date any women with children, even though he had a kid. Then he dated a woman with kids right after me.
All right, so that's what that's called is bullshit excuses. That's not like that's what can I reach for that's immediately available to me? Yeah.
And then I went on like a couple of really good dates. There were like 3 guys of like all of these like Bumble and Match dates that I went on after that. I mean, I was going full force. I was making no excuses. My confidence was back. I was feeling good about myself. I knew that the relationship that I was in was, none of those were good for me, that, you know, there is someone out there for me and I'm not just going to sit back. I knew at the time, at least I felt at the time, I had to be proactive, because besides being at home with my children, there's no way for me to meet other people.
Yeah.
And so then the next 3 guys ghosted me. And then I basically said, fuck it all, fuck it all. And I found Twitch. And so then I started streaming on Twitch. It was a little bit because of my past history of looking for something in the entertainment industry. And I'd actually signed up for Twitch a long time ago, but I never really understood what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit of trying to do something for myself finally, because I was always doing things for other people. And the whole not making excuses things. And that year, so this was 2018, instead of making a typical New Year's resolution, I came up with a saying, patience, perseverance, and passion. So I've always had an overload of passion and a decent amount of perseverance and pretty much 0 patience. So I wanted to try to find balance between all of those things. And I started streaming from my PS4 with a camera, and a couple of my friends have been here in the chat that were my original 2 viewers, and it kind of blew up from there. I feel like because streaming in general is like a platform where you can be yourself. I had a history in broadcasting, a history in theater, singing, dancing, entertainment, and we get to do whatever we want within reason, obviously.
Yes.
And so where I was turned away from the news because I didn't like what the news was about, I can kind of do my own thing. And I had no idea about what the community aspect of it was. I literally thought I was just going to be playing video games.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, that I was just going to come on and I was going to talk at people, and then people would maybe talk back to me, but I didn't think that I would consider some of these people my family after a while. Like that part does not. And
that's kind of what really changed it for me, was I started meeting people who I felt like got me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where has this been my whole life? Then I did go through some really tough spots where I was in these communities. I did grow relatively fast. Obviously, I think there can be reasons why people grow fast. They either A, just have it, or they have something that they do that sets them apart and that people can grow with, or people can see themselves in.
I think there's a little bit of sprinkle of it. Do you believe in luck? Because I believe that there's a sprinkle of luck that also goes on top of that.
I think there's luck, and there's taking advantage of that opportunity when that luck presents itself.
And that's hard work. That's being able to present something and say, okay, here's the opportunity. Look at everything that I've done. I can prove to you that I'm worth investing in.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then I found this community that I was a part of, and I love talking. I love getting to know people. I love taking care of people. I love helping people. And when I find a subject that I like, I'm pretty sure I'm OCD, ADD, by the way, which I'm not diagnosed, but I'm self-diagnosed.
What are you diagnosed? Do you mind if we back up? What are you diagnosed with?
Anxiety. Okay. That was back before my pregnancy.
Sure.
I stopped going to my therapist because I thought she was too soft. I
actually switched therapists because of that too. Yeah, somebody was just you need somebody to nurture you, but you also need somebody to be I'm gonna kick your ass.
She did help me realize I was not in a relationship that was fulfilling, that I was just taking care of somebody, and that I kept taking care of these people because I never had a dad figure in my life that was there as a man. And I watched my mom in multiple relationships where she just sat back, and I had this skewed version. I mean, I didn't really have good examples of a relationship in my life. And, I was overly sexualized at a young age because of my looks. And so I wear shirts like this pretty often. And I get triggered pretty easily by physical, when people start talking booby streamers and that kind of stuff, which I'm going to be careful about talking, because we do have to be careful about talking about that on Mixer, by the way.
Just because of the fact that they don't want to hear that anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore.
We cannot also call anybody that.
Oh,
you can actually get in trouble for doing that. So
but that's good.
This is one of the reasons I like Mixer. Mixer is very clearly defined about what they're that I'll get into that.
Yeah.
So I was on Twitch, and then I was a part of a community that I was a moderator of pretty quickly, because I had experience in business, marketing, radio, TV, etc. and people started getting jealous. I even found out that a couple of people in that community that I was in were messaging the people that were giving me bits and donations and asking them and offering them things. So I have like way deep stuff that I've never told anybody because that's not.
Well, let's we don't need to like not just
getting there. I'm not getting into names. I never do that.
No. I don't worry about names. No. You can talk about whatever the hell you. All the repercussions are yours. It's on air. Like, too bad. I don't. You're 100%. You're not going to be filtered here in terms of that. I just mean, cleaning out our laundry is not the purpose of this, right? And like going through and talk, like that's just not. That's not.
So mainly, just the point was I went through multiple communities.
Yeah.
That I thought that I was family.
Yeah.
And people typically on Twitch use this term family, and we use it on Mixer as well.
Yeah.
And I think the term is used a little bit too openly.
Broadly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it for me especially, and for a lot of people, a lot of us either have social anxieties or we have different things. And the reason why we're on the internet is because we have this keyboard in front of us, like in a screen, and we don't even have to have photos or videos or anything. We can literally just open up and be whoever we want to be. I mean, it's hard to even know if half the people we're interacting with are even who they actually are in person. But who you see on here is me. This is me, and when I'm streaming, it's me, and it's 100% me. And I think that's where it helped me, because people don't have to be in my stream if they don't want to be.
Yeah.
And when they're there and they're enjoying my content, or they say they're inspired, or they say that they are having fun and that I'm helping them, that is like the most validation that I've ever gotten when it's something for me that I'm doing. That's not just me doing things for other people. It's a mixture of I'm doing this for myself because I enjoy doing it, and I'm meeting new people. I'm getting to talk. And I also am meeting, I'm helping other people, and then they help other people too.
Yeah.
Because basically my whole life, even during Twitch, I had my sister and other people tell me I talk too much, that
oh my gosh,
I'm looking for attention.
Oh my gosh.
Which, I mean, I know myself pretty well. There are times where I could be a little extra, or I could be whatever, because I was looking for attention.
Girl, okay, so the thing is, you're talking to the right person, because all of the above, okay? And clearly, who else has a mental health talk show where they go on and they talk for 3 hours about everything that's going on in their brain if they're not a little bit extra and a little bit out there and a little bit too much and talk a lot? And that was one of those things where I actually felt like when I started streaming, where I had told somebody that I'm streaming and I talk for like 3 hours, and they're like, well, that's not a problem for you. And I was like,
and they said the same things to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, it's still and it's different, and like, fuck you. I'm happy that that's what you think.
Think about people like Oprah or Ellen, or people that people really look up to, and think about the shit that they probably had to go to get up to that point.
But it's how you frame it, right? If you tell somebody you talk too much versus like, hey, let's use this talent. Let's find an outlet for this. That's what I felt like. And it's actually been pretty fascinating, like in my marriage, because I will kind of get the conversation out. And so then when I'm done, he's like, oh, how's it going? And I'll just be like, yeah, everything's fine. Like, I don't have much to say because I've gotten all the conversation out, and I'm happy. And I feel like that balances that. Like, we still talk and everything, you guys. I used
to have this thing where I had to like talk to about 10 to 15 people at my school about what I was going through before I felt like I could just be like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to have a good day now. Because I never knew about therapy. I never knew about, could never talk to my parents. And I always had this issue with girls, because I think girls thought that I was looking for attention. And in society, it's not just me. It's not just
a competition thing. It's with girls, it becomes very quickly a competition thing. And with guys, it works differently, also competition wise, but like differently. With girls, the competition is very like verbally nasty usually. And and
I don't like confrontation. I get major, I get that pit in the stomach, and I get that like chest tightening when if I say something wrong, or if I get a text message that's passive aggressive, or if I get something that I feel like even this morning, I dropped my kids school supplies off a week and a half late. And I came in a side door with a teacher that knew me because I used to go there. And when I get up to the front desk of the office, they're like, well, how'd you get in here? And I'm like, sorry, a teacher let me in. And they're like, oh, okay. And I don't do well with passive aggressiveness. I don't do well with like feeling like I've done things wrong. so I avoid confrontation at all costs. And that, you know, so I was in a couple communities that, you know, I was a moderator of, and I blew up and did really well to the point where I quit my day job. And I'm able to stay at home with my kids, which is a big part of it as well that a lot of people don't think of. I also do photography. I own my own business. So I have multiple channels of revenue.
Good.
But I was mostly relying on Twitch at the time. And so that did become a big stressor because it's the unknown and it's not guaranteed income.
Yeah, Twitch is not where you go to get like easy money. It's not. It's just.
And then add in anxiety and all the other things that we all go through on a daily basis. And a lot of these communities that I was in, when I stepped down as a moderator because it became too much, and because I was told I was too much and that I was too emotional and all of these things, a lot of people stopped coming around.
Yeah, being told you take up a lot of space is another common theme that I get a lot of. Yep. Just like this, all of you that you are, I need you to not be that. And it's not that hard to internalize that, because then any message, anything
I just froze.
You did. Okay, you're back. Okay. Because then anything you do wrong goes back to that, like, oh, it must be because I'm too much. Oh, it must be because I talk too much, because I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not.
And then you self-doubt, and then you question yourself. And I would ask people, I tried to ask a couple people I trusted. I tried to ask them, like, you know, especially females, I'm like, what is something that, like, because I feel like I'm having these issues with women, and I want to be friends with everybody, and that's my other problem. I want to be friends with everybody.
Oh my God. I just need everybody to like me. I just please, I'm likable, right? Please tell me. Yes. Oh my gosh.
That whole,
this is my biggest downfall.
The ripest peach in the patch, and somebody doesn't like peaches.
Yeah.
It's like those types of analogies.
And you totally know that. Like, I totally am aware of that. I cannot, there's not any person, right, that can be right for everybody. Like, that's just not.
And I have a very hard time grasping that. And I've always been self-aware. I've always known what my flaws are, and I know who I am, but I get in those moments where I have a hard time getting out of bed, or I self-doubt, or I question, or I'm like, well, I said this wrong to that person, and that's why this happened. And then I emotionally snowball.
Yeah.
And so I went through that multiple times. So then I actually got in a relationship. I met somebody on Twitch, and he lived in Canada and I lived in Ohio. And it was the first guy that I ever felt like believed in me, and I ever felt like understood who I was, because he watched every stream.
Yeah, he was there.
And he willingly watched every stream, and I didn't have to like feel like I was like pushing a guy towards liking things that I liked, or I didn't feel like he was compromising who he was. Because all the past relationships, you know, it's good to have differences. You got to have that balance. But I felt like none of my exes were ever into what I was into, that they just did it to do it, or they didn't.
Right.
And it went really well for a while. We were together for a year. He would travel and visit me every other week for almost a year, and he was great. And he brought a lot of my confidence back. He helped me out a lot around the house, which is something I don't have help with. I saw him more than I saw my own family, and he lived like 5 hours away. And it was the most loved I've ever felt. But I did definitely, I feel like, get distracted by the relationship at times. I felt like I put, you know, I try to, you know, find that balance, but because it was the best relationship, you know, that I'd seen myself being in, I put a lot of time into it.
Well, it sounds like it sounds like after all the hurt that you went through, it was hard to open your heart, and then you saw this opportunity, and you're like, okay, this is it. I have the opportunity to open up and be vulnerable, and finally, it sounds like you finally had somebody to take care of you.
Right. It was the first time somebody ever like went out of the way to do things for me. Like, he'd come into town and he'd ask me what groceries I needed, and he'd like get my favorite coffee for me. And I don't know if you guys like the 5 love languages.
We have talked about them like super briefly back on Twitch in another time. But that is another episode that I need to do again.
Well, so if you ever want to talk that, I'll like join, or I'll like be in chat. But I used to be words of affirmation.
Yes.
And then I've over time switched to quality time and acts of service. So acts of service is different than gifts, because it's people doing things for you. And me being a single mom and having to do everything for my children all the time, and feeling like no one, I mean, even just going to the park or like doing, like, none of my exes would ever do any of that stuff. And so I finally found this person who believed in me, who believed in what I did. And he never seemed upset for the things that I did, and he went out of his way. And then about a month ago, we broke up. It was very sudden, and I'm not going into the details of it. We've already talked about this, but it was I was already having issues on Twitch. I was having issues with money. I was having self-doubt issues on what I want to do in life, because I'd gotten denied 6 times on Twitch for partnership.
And you had met the numbers. You met the qualification. So like, I've been denied, but I also applied just like for the hell of it. You met the numbers
for a long time, and they took 5 weeks to get back to me the final time. And I had at that point had 700 subscribers. I'd averaged 100 viewers. I mean, I had what I believe to be quality content. I know about broadcasting. I have a decent voice. I have fun. I have a good community behind me. And I just kind of felt failed by Twitch. And I'm the kind of person, I don't feel like anybody's owed anything. But throughout my life,
exactly it. That's it, girl. You're nailed. That's after they denied all of the
model. Think about what she went through.
Oh my gosh! But that's exactly it. After they denied all of the panels, after they pushed away some really big mental health nonprofits, I was like, I know it's an entity, it's not a person, and again, like, nobody owes you, all of that. But very
hard thing to suck up.
Right. And I would just like I feel like you take it on the chin, you're like, whatever, because they don't know me, it's a corporation. And then at one point you're just like, no.
I'm busting my ass for this. I'm working really hard.
Yeah.
And every time I would like come to these things in my life, like when I was in California and I got really big interviews and I worked at really great places, and I worked at a movie trailer company that made the trailers for Harry Potter. I was talking to people at Warner Brothers and Universal, and they loved me. But because I did so well at that administrative assistant position, they literally, like, I was a receptionist. They fired their administrative assistant to make me that front desk person, but they wouldn't move me out of it because
that was what happened with me in publishing. That was my publishing job for 4 years. They're like, but you're so good at this. And I'm like,
have to put time in, and you have to like know things. And that is my biggest pet peeve. And this is like a topic I kind of want to talk about. I have a friend in the industry. But and then, I went so I left, I came back to Ohio, and then I went to college. And then I was a year away from graduating, and then I got pregnant, which obviously a lot of the things, some of them were my decisions or my doings or things like that. But I felt like every time I got to these places where I was really close to taking off, where I was really close to like having that like goal, that big goal, like that reach dream goal that I think are important to make, I'd get it taken away. And I'd read the motivational quotes, and I would read the when one door closes, another opens, or this isn't meant to be your journey. And it gets to the point where it's fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
And then add in being a single mom and being through all these failed relationships, and then questioning yourself and be like, what am I doing wrong? What is it that I can do to push through this? What is it that I can do to propel myself forward so that I can't blame other people? Like what things are in my control? What things are the things that I can do to change this situation? And unfortunately, most of those positions, it was up to another person.
Yeah.
And either, in my opinion, like at the radio station, it became a jealousy thing. I could do a lot of things, and I don't want to get too touchy here, but a lot of the men at this radio station, there's a big thing in media with gender. A lot of the men at that radio station felt threatened because I could do photography, voiceovers, film, editing, etc. And the main producer didn't like the video game thing. Like, I legit set everything up for them. I talked to the sales team. I was working with the morning staff, the morning show staff. I got the job at the video game store. I set up everything. All they literally had to do was bring their media people there, and I was doing it all for free. And the guy didn't like the idea.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got to do 2 morning shows because the morning show guy liked me, and he had a little bit of a push with deciding what the content on the morning show was. But then guess what happened? They hired a man to take over the video game segment. Photography, I offered to do all of their concert photography, which is another passion of mine. I love music. I love active like event photography. They got a man to do it because he was willing to do it for free. And like, I'm a single mom. Like, I can't do this. All I was asking for was $10 an hour at a concert to do concert photography. So I kept hitting these like walls that were like this isn't fair. Like, I'm not asking for a lot, and I'm busting my ass and I'm doing the work. Like, what am I doing wrong? And it was very hard to be like, it's not my fault because
It's,
these things were out of my control.
It's the easiest to blame yourself, especially when you can't control stuff. It's the easiest to blame it on yourself because you can control you, and you can beat the shit out of yourself as a punching bag to infinity. There's really nothing stopping you there.
Yeah. And so then with Twitch, I literally, like a month ago, I was crying every day. And I keep telling people, I don't know if the VODs are still there, but if you saw my last 2 VODs on Twitch, or my last couple of VODs on Twitch, I would break down almost every stream. And I'm an open, vulnerable person. I think that's why a lot of people enjoy my streams.
Yeah.
Because I'm open and I'm not afraid. Like, I'm very positive and I believe in the positivity. But we've had these conversations, and some of our communities have had these conversations where there's a difference between being that like hype streamer that's like, oh, yeah. And then
we're here for the game. We're not here to listen to what's going on. Yeah.
Right. And then there's the people that try to put on the positive all the time persona, which I'm 100% about positivity and seeing glass half full and all of that. But if I'm having a rough day, I'm going to be honest about it. And I believe in taking mental health days, and I believe in taking time off. And there's no one way to do streaming right. None of us really know what we're doing. I think all of us are really figuring this out as we go, and think about where streaming and YouTube and content creation and all of that has started. I mean, I've been in the entertainment industry since a very young age. Like since I was like 16, I went to radio and TV. And since then it's evolved so much. And I'm so mad that I didn't put myself out there earlier because I was so afraid of what other people thought. And then that's where the anxiety stuff comes in. It's like you have these ideas and you have these things you want to do, and you're allowing other people or other people's opinions to hold you down. Like, girl, some of your tweets, I think we're like very alike.
I think I'm listening to you and I'm like, tell me more about what I'm thinking right now. Please describe it to me in detail.
And that's why Twitch and now obviously Mixer, it's changed a lot for me because I felt like I finally meet people that get it. And I met another really close friend. I don't know if you know Uzi Princess 89. Her and I actually went through a rough patch, and she was going through a lot and I was going through a lot, but we were able to be adults and have a conversation about it and then get through it. And it's made our friendship even stronger. And those are the moments like, I'll bring up my relationship a little bit because I felt like there was a little bit of giving up. I felt like there was a throwing in the towel. And I'm not that kind of person. Yeah. And we're all different people. We're on different paths.
So I mean, clearly from the way you described your previous relationships, like you're going to try to give it your all until you can continue giving it your all, and then some more after that. Yeah.
And I just feel like I've been given up on my whole life. And it's very hard. Like, it hits me every day. I have those thoughts in my mind every day. I feel, except for my kids. And that's what's helped me a lot is if I honestly didn't have my kids to take care of, I know that I would be having a very hard time in life right now because I have something above myself. And I have these children who see life like through these like open eyes, and they're funny and they're weird and they're silly. And they're coming down here right now.
Right on cue! A monster appears!
You say, Yosso!
So cute. Oh my god.
Okay, go brush your teeth, okay?
Yay.
Okay, go brush your teeth.
Brushing your teeth is hard, Mom. I don't want to do it. Do I have to brush my teeth? No, right? I'm fine, right? Okay.
I have one other, but he's playing Fortnite, so.
Well, he's actually busy, okay?
Okay, go, you stinker. He's peeking.
Uh-huh.
Stop it. Go, brush your teeth.
It's so cute. Oh my goodness.
So it's like, you know, take all of that stuff out and then just think about the fact on a daily basis. I am streaming until close to 3 a.m. sometimes, which is my own fault. But then I'm waking up at 6:45 in the morning.
Getting your kids together. Mm-hmm.
Got to get their bags packed. Got to get them dressed. Got to get them together. Teeth brush. Got to get the one up the area to walk with his friends. Come back, feed the other breakfast. Get him walk to school and walk my friends, my neighbors' kids to school. Then I come back. I do a little bit of Twitter. I've actually found that's my routine in the morning. I do Twitter when I get back. It's a really good time to do Twitter.
Huh.
And then I take a nap or I go get my adulting done, which I did today, which was, sorry, I'm getting a little ADD here, but
are you apologizing to me for ADD moments?
No, this is something I do. I apologize.
No, please take that apology back because it's no good here. Sorry, ma'am.
So one thing I've tried to do for myself since like the breakup and since all this other stuff I've gone through is if I can at least do like one task a day, like I'm if I've got one foot in front of me, then I'm good. And I've really tried, a saying I have is, if I try to focus on the now, I try not to have the depression of the past and the anxiety of the future, because literally my mind is like having 1,000 tabs open at a time on your computer. I'm constantly overthinking everything. I'm constantly worrying about what I have done, what I haven't done, what I still have to do. If I've got my laundry piling up, if my dishes are in my sink, what people are going to think of that. Oh my gosh, my neighbor's going to come over. I'm about to take her kids to school. She's going to see that. Oh wait, I haven't taken my kids' supplies to school yet. I still have to do that tweet. I still have to do my thing for my Mix It Up bot. Oh, I haven't done my mix play yet. Oh my gosh, when am I going to apply for partner? Holy crap, my mom didn't call me today. Like, it's literally
nonstop
all day long like that. And trying to take a step back. I've been walking my kids to school every day, which has helped. I've been refocusing on myself. Like rewinding a little bit. I'd signed up for Mixer right after my denial on partnership in March. And I'd met some people from Mixer in January at PAX South, but I was too nervous to go over to the PAX South booth.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I kind of was a little
You're
dedicated.
branded.
No matter what, it's always a part of my life. And I did
course.
it knowing that.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, people ask me all the time. They're like, are you going to get a big X over it? I'm like, maybe under it. This is my passion progression arm is what I'm calling it.
Oh, then put a Mixer thing over and then
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see. But so then I signed up for Mixer finally, which, because I'd seen it for a while. I had an Xbox and I've had, seen the other platforms. I knew more people on Twitch. It's kind of like why I picked a Canon camera when I did photography. I knew people on that platform. So I signed up for
I'm a Nikon girl, and that's where our friendship ends. Over. Bye. All jokes aside, no. This is like a real, if you guys know the photography world, this is a real
I actually don't mind. I've actually Sony's. I've looked into Sony's because I heard the Sony A7s.
Sony's have come back. Yes.
And Sigma's lenses. My Sigma Art 30 millimeter. Yeah.
The last one we bought was a Canon. When we went to Tokyo and we were like, we're doing it. We're buying a camera. And we bought a
I remember that trip. I loved all your whole slideshow and everything.
Oh my gosh, you watched the slideshow? Holy heck.
Yeah, okay. I watched that stream.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a lurker. People don't realize.
No, it's okay. Anytime people tell me they watch my shit, I'm like,
oh, I do the same thing. Okay, I have. Yeah,
we've
got so much to talk about. We could literally talk for like days.
But I expect that people, like, I see people are here. I see, like later on I check my data and I'm like, oh, people were here. Okay, but like nobody ever tells you. I mean, periodically tweets will come out about it. Imagine right now there's 59 people watching us. Imagine 59 people in a room staring at you, and you're like, that's not it. But like at any given time, there's people are freaking watching you. So somebody's been bound to see you. Yeah.
Well, and that's like where that mindset I was saying came. Like if that many people are willing to even be lurking me or even tune in.
Oh my gosh.
And care about anything I have to say. And then I'm having people tell me I'm inspiring them. Because I do like the positivity and the motivational speech and the talking about being a single mom. And even my therapist, like I tell people that, like she told me she didn't understand how I was able to be so positive and that I was growing this.
That was me. That was my entire like adolescence through adulthood. People were like, my every therapist was like, and you should be grateful to yourself that you managed to not just stay bubbly for other people's appearances, but like there's a spark in you that doesn't give up. There's a spark in you that goes, it's going to get better. Yeah, and I strongly believe that all the time. It gets dimmer. It definitely periodically it gets really dim, and I almost can't see it.
Saying, "Don't dull your sparkle" for somebody. I can't remember what the saying
is. Don't dull your shine for somebody who's something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
If somebody knows it, post it in chat.
Yeah.
But so then I finally like started to get really frustrated with Twitch. I do variety. I get ADD with games. I can't stay on the same game. I like being a social gamer. I like having people to talk with. If the chat is slow or if I feel like I'm talking to myself, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Yep.
So that's been one thing I have struggled with streaming. And I've learned to adapt. I don't look at the numbers as much. I do still look at the numbers, not as much. That was what became my issue on Twitch. was they introduced that raid host percentage. And I would get so many raids because I was in a ton of communities and people were supporting me.
I don't understand why that's an issue. That's people supporting you, and they're still. So if their goal is to get eyes on advertisements, because that's supposedly what their goal is. That's what they're supposed to be going for. So if somebody raids me or freaking hosts me, no matter how, you're getting more eyes on the ads that I'm posting. So why is this a problem?
The only thing I agree with was they were trying to prevent the Tim the Tatmans and Ninjas from hosting people and then them being able to apply, which I get, but they should be able to look at the statistics without that.
Yeah.
And I carried an over 65 viewer average for almost a year of my year and a half on Twitch. And then to see and then here's where the comparison is the killjoy is the worst thing. I would compare myself to others and I'd be like, well, why did that person get it? Or why did that person get it? Why can this person that's doing this thing that I don't agree with ethically on Twitch? And I'm not getting into it, but why can these people that are doing terrible
things, how are they getting away with it? How much money could they be making? Yeah.
Right. And I was making money for Twitch.
Well, that's what you were. I never got to 700 subs, but you clearly were making money for them.
Even without that, if you have people providing quality content that are passionate about your platform.
Yes, that's what you want. That's who should be representing you. Yes.
Right. And so I just felt like I didn't matter. And I've been a big proponent of if you're in a job or you're in a place where you're not happy and you start making excuses for why you're staying there and you get comfortable and you get in that rut, either find a way to make it better, work harder and move your way up, or change to something else. And so I literally went through that breakup and was rock bottom. Like I had days I didn't get out of bed. I cried every day. I had a couple of in real life friends who actually finally reached out to me because I'd lost touch with a lot of my IRL friends because either A, they were single moms, B, they were too busy for me, or they hated my streaming stuff because I'm always in my basement. I literally put everything into my content. So that was one thing I didn't do. That was great.
That was something that I recently had to relearn how to find that balance of it's not just that hey, I'm ditching people and that's not nice to them, but I need that in real life contact as well for myself, and that means
bad,
right? And that means that I have to foster those relationships. They're not going to continue going if I don't take care of them a little bit. So I need to
have a lot of toxic people in my life. So I would allow people in just to get attention. That personal whatever that I needed. And the boyfriend, he fulfilled a lot of that because I was happy with at least having one person and my two kids who were there for me. Oops, I dropped my.
Oops.
I was going to introduce you guys to my friend here in a minute, but so I have to go to the bathroom really quick.
Yes. Go pee. Go pee. We're going to talk shit about you.
We have a pee counter on my streams, so I don't have a be right back button, so
that's fine. There's no be right back for Zoom, so just go. Bye.
I'll be right back, guys.
We'll see you soon. Bye. This is why people go to unknown games and get the partnership, then move to a more known game. Tally, get out of here. Get out of here. So what do you do if you're not Pokimane? Because top 5% is freaking Pokimane for talk shows. P hype, chair hype, everybody hype. Oh my gosh. Hoopocalypse, hey yo, hi. By the way, this is a great time to tell everybody, thank you for all the follows. I don't know if you're still here. If you are, please just know that I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you everybody who's following. Thank you everybody who's sending over those sparks. I'm watching. I can see it out of the corner of my eye and it means the world to me. Thank you. This whole conversation is everything. Project Ruby, I'm so glad you're enjoying it. I am thrilled. This is fantastic, and I'm really honored that a Video Game Diva is opening her life this way. J-Man for life, hi! Thank you so much for the host. I'm excited to get more of this content here. Hell yeah! Heck yeah. Dude, I think going to known games after is dumb. It should be about playing what you want, not what will get you views. That's the reason that mixer sites, they don't consider numbers in partnership. That is the reason, because they don't want people playing a popular game and then quitting it to do what they actually want to do. Yeah. You find a game that's being released in beta, played out of beta and into mainstream, if that works, maybe. Of course, I love hearing talks about anxiety. I have that and depression disorders. G-Man, thank you so much for opening up and saying that and sharing that about yourself. That's no small feat, and please know that I appreciate it very much. Yes. Oh my gosh, and Scourge is still here. You guys are fantastic. You guys have been a really, 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 really good group. After this, we're kind of gonna like finish because I have. So for those of you guys who don't know, I also stream on Twitter. I'm part of a talk show on Twitter, and I'm gonna be on this Sunday night, and we have to do a rehearsal. So that's what I'm doing right after the stream, and then obviously this all is gonna be uploaded to YouTube and stuff. So yes, yes, of course I'm still. But you don't have to be. Everybody who's still here. Heck, what are you guys doing here? Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the sparks. I'm so glad to be here, Mxiety. I'm glad I'm able actually sit in on the show. I am so glad too. Thank you so much. That flying spaghetti monster, that's life. That was one of the things I considered for my wedding. You have to be here. We don't. We're here. Take the compliment. It is a compliment. I know it's a compliment. Thank you. I'm IRL friend of Diva.
Taking compliments.
Yeah, we just talked about this. Shush, you know I had to come see this. Aw. Thank you.
Sorry, my lighting is terrible, guys. I am like so
this bitch with her lighting.
Understand. I'm so upset about my lighting right now.
Oh my gosh. Twitter, is that the thing in your schedule as well? Yeah, so if you go to my Twitter handle, you'll see all 3 things that I do. And that is, I do, Twitter is another thing that I'm a host for another live show that's on Twitter. I do too much.
All right. Where do you want to?
Do you guys prefer Mixer to the FTL? Twitch is of course.
You mean FTT faster than Twitch? That was not an adult beverage that you just saw.
It wasn't.
No.
It is plus 18, so I think you're okay. I'm getting a bit of jitter on the streams, but overall it's preferable. Yeah. I mean, it's not like my name gives it away.
Mixer is going through some things right now, though, where they're, if you're having issues with the FTL, some videos are defaulting to have FTL off. And then I've had things where I've had to refresh streams. So if you're ever having issues, just refresh the stream.
What sucks for me is that I've had to, my VODs got deleted. I was talking to somebody. Yeah, I was talking to somebody at Mixer, and she's like, I tried to watch your VOD. Did you not stream? I was like, no, it wasn't there.
Oh,
she's like, oh, that's such a shame. She's like, I wanted to see how you're doing. And I'm like, I'm doing great, but you can't see it. And I've only had 2 streams. So one was up and the other one was deleted.
Mixer stuff that you were doing this today. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Oh, you did.
What?
You did.
Okay, so we'll get to that though. So
we don't have a lot of time left, girl.
No, I'm gonna fast forward. So I tried out Mixer.
Mm-hmm.
It was the day that Ninja made the announcement.
Yeah.
So I was
remember
talking to my friend Grumpy Gemini, and I had already set everything up. All I had to do was change my stream key. And I was really, 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 really nervous because I'd already brought up to my core community, like in my sub chat in my Discord, I had talked about trying it and doing both.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did it and I streamed, and it was insane. It was not at all what I was expecting. We were playing Fortnite. It was the first day of the new season too, so it was hype. It was just really, I think it was a mixture of luck, timing, nervousness mixed with excitement.
Yeah.
And just putting myself out there because
and you had a community that definitely helps to come over with a little bit of an established community to build on. Yeah.
I didn't know. You still don't know.
No, you don't know.
How many people are going to come over? You know, I knew
nobody owes it to you. There's no guarantee. There's no promise. Yeah.
I knew that at least half my mods were coming over, that they had already made accounts, and I had like 8 followers. I'm pretty sure I had over 100 followers after my first stream. I made like an announcement on Twitter, and then my Twitter literally started blowing up. And I started talking about my friend here, which was something that I had started doing.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been able to sing with my mouth closed,
mm-hmm.
but I never really had like ventured into the like actual ventriloquism, and I can sing. And I had this puppet before that was a pirate, which was nicknamed a name with my ex. And so I didn't want to use it anymore. So I had stopped doing it. So I put this on my stream gift wish list, and Grumpy Gemini got it for me.
Oh.
So then I started exploring other content that, you know, we have the anxieties about doing because we're afraid it's either not going to catch on, or like when you switch a game and people like the game that you're playing and you're doing something different. Like the number one thing I will always tell people is don't be afraid to try something.
Yeah.
Because biggest risks sometimes have the biggest rewards. And if it's something that you don't like, then you can just go back to doing the other thing. If you try out Mixer and it doesn't work, go back to Twitch or try both. I know a lot of people that are doing both. And I was originally planning on that. And then I streamed that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And that Saturday, after that stream, I made the announcement that I was full-time streaming on Mixer. And that post now has almost 2,000 likes and tons of retweets and over 200 comments, mostly from Mixer people welcoming me to the community. I'd had both co-founders in my stream, staff members in my stream, tons of Mixer partners and Mixer people, longtime Beam and Mixer people in my channel welcoming me, giving me advice, helping me out. I had never experienced that. I'd maybe had 2 staff members ever in my stream on Twitch. And I get Twitch is an oversaturated, huge platform.
Yeah.
And maybe, who knows? Yeah, Electric Panther was one of them. Who knows how long this small community feel is going to last? But you better believe I'm going to ride this wave as long as I can.
Yeah.
This is the morale that I'm talking of. I've worked as a manager at multiple jobs. I've worked at places where when the morale is down and there's ethically wrong things happening and you feel like your company doesn't believe in you anymore, I have to feel like what I'm doing has a reason.
Yeah.
And when I was losing my passion for that and I went through a breakup and I was possibly going to have to get a day job again, and then I found Mixer, it literally couldn't have come at a better time for me. And so then, yeah, I did you can't say the P word.
Wait. Oh, because he doesn't know? He doesn't know that he's a...
No.
Oh, okay.
And I posted a video on Twitter and that also went viral. And then I have up to this day had over 1.2 million impressions on Twitter in less than a month.
About damn time.
Most of my posts have over 100 likes or comments. I have another tweet that I did yesterday that's just about what's your favorite retro thing, post a GIF. It's got over 600 likes and like 500 comments on it. So I think I found myself. It came to the point of... You
found your groove. You found,
I'm being me. I'm fully 100% believing in myself. Well, we've all got self-doubt. I still have those moments. But I'm putting a lot more back into my content. I'd lost myself and it had become apparent and people noticed it and people had kind of fallen away on Twitch. And I found like I've refound my way and I've inspired a lot of others in my community, and then they're inspiring other people to try this out because literally it's just having another tab open on your browser.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Whatever. Mm-hmm.
Most people already have a Microsoft account. It's literally just signing in.
Yeah.
And the new features, and then just really, it's a roller coaster and it's really hard to explain, and it's hard, but like people in my real life, they have said, like IRL, I hate using that, but like people outside of the platform have noticed a change in me. My community has noticed the change in me. And no matter where this goes, knowing that we can go through a low and tomorrow is a new day. And there are, like, as corny as the sayings are, the lights at the end of the tunnel, there's brighter things on the other side. The grass is greener. There's lots of different analogies that we can use. But the main thing is if you don't put yourself out there, if you sit on your couch or you stay in bed and you make excuses, you're not going to achieve those goals. Somebody else is going to go and get it if you sit back and don't do it. They might not even be as talented as you. They might not even take off as much as you would have taken off, but at least they're doing something about it.
And that's the tea, everybody.
And that's the tea. City.
Oh my gosh. Aki, hi. Hi, sunshine.
Well, and the one thing I do also mention that's very important is the community. Mm-hmm. I would not be where I'm at without having other people believe in me. None of us would be 100%. There without each other.
Yep.
And having so many of my moderators and community come over, like Mixer noticed that.
Yeah.
And I actually showed up. I don't know if you guys have heard of Stein. He is the lead social media guy at Mixer.
Some people have heard of Stein, sure.
Yeah. They do the show on Friday because you were there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. I was the other person they called out that almost shit their pants.
we both got called out on their talk show.
Right.
From the chat. And I was just in there hype and excited that it was my first level up casting that I saw.
Right.
And Stein literally said, I got a clip of it. It's on my Twitter. that like he was talking about community and all these people coming over and switching from, or at least trying out from Twitch. And he was like, yeah, like Video Game Diva, I noticed you, like your name has come up a lot, and you know, you brought your community over and you're doing really well. He's like, your name has even shown up in my social media reports. So it's literally like, it's gotten to this point where you're like, you think, okay, things are going great, nothing can like really top that, and there's literally like boom boom, things keep talking. And then Piper Parabo wished me a happy birthday, and nothing can ever top that again. So
Shit, bro. That's cool. That's really, really freaking cool. And you feel like you found your own, you found the water to swim in. And
Right.
if somebody has told me like, oh, once the hype dies down, what are you gonna do? And I was like,
literally was just gonna, like, the
Yeah.
honeymoon period. It's like
Yeah.
the honeymoon period of gaming.
sure. And I said the same thing that I did when the hype died down from like my starting my Twitch streams. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
streaming and
You
keep doing my
either
thing.
Find something new,
Yep.
or you adapt,
Yep.
or you create new content. And I think, you know, Twitch is a different type of platform, and it got me to where I'm at, and I'm very thankful for it. It's just like going through relationships that teach you something.
Yeah.
You move on to something else because you got what you needed out of that, and now you're moving on to something else. And who knows, like, I might not be on Mixer forever. There might be another platform, or there might be something else that I do. I have lots of ideas. I'm doing things at TwitchCon is all I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need a buddy for that, by the way.
Yeah. No. Well. Okay. I'll say it because I'm not afraid to say it. Basically, I'm planning on taking my camera. I'm going to be doing headshots. Number one.
Yes.
But I'm going to be doing kind of coverage and B-roll of the convention. But then I'm going to go around doing interviews, and I'm going to interview people, and I'm trying to do basically coverage of conventions.
Mm-hmm.
I have a background in journalism and a
Mhm.
background in entertainment.
Mhm.
And I like getting to know people, and I like doing the non-stuffy interviews like this, where you just kind of talk and you have casual conversation. I have a couple of things you want to bring up, but I feel like if you feel like there is a need somewhere, and it's something that you're passionate and something that you do that's different, then go do it. So my idea has something involved with, I don't know if any of you ever watched that like Comedy Central where they had the dog, like the insulting dog.
Yes. Oh my God. Wait,
So-
what's his name? Shoot.
Courage or something. I don't know. It's not Courage. I don't remember what his name was. He had like the cigar in his mouth or something.
Yes. Oh my. No, this is gonna. I'm googling
But you know
it.
how Trouble Truck and you were talking about taking inspiration from other areas of your life?
Right.
And you know, it's really funny. I don't know if you saw the tweet today, but Rainbow, oh, what's her name? Rainbow. I've met so many new people. I'm sorry. You guys probably, Rainbow Light Bright. I'm sure some of you guys know her. She actually has, Rainbow Light Bright. There we go. She has a flat Stanley of Stein that she's taking.
Yes, I've seen this. Triumph.
it was-
Triumph, not courage. Triumph.
Yes, Triumph. Thank you. But how funny is it that Trouble Truck and you were just talking about that?
Yeah.
And then she has the
That's exact. And she hashtagged it Stein, and I was Stanley. Yeah.
called it Steinley or something.
Yeah. And I was like, how the hell does this yeah, exactly. Yep.
But that's the thing, like and it's okay because we can do similar things. And so this is the other like little, if we've got questions, we have to cut me off. But we can inspire each other and get ideas from each other and still do it in our own way.
Yes.
It's not a competition.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times I'll even mention like, hey, I got this idea. I'm inspired by you. Thank you. And I'll mention that person specifically too.
Yeah.
What is that? No, I'm not restarting my computer.
No, abort, no. I'm having a heart attack over here. This is going so well. No restart.
Finding inspiration from others in other places, but doing it in your own, like I tell people a lot, like when people would bring me photos, like wedding photos, and they're like, this is what I want. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that in my own way, but I'm not going to completely copy somebody else's style for your wedding photos. You hired me for these wedding photos.
Right.
You didn't hire me to do it. And that'd be like,
when I was looking for a wedding photographer, I looked for somebody that I knew did already what I wanted to do, not so that I could tell them what. Yeah,
Pinterest has ruined a lot of things for a lot of people with like, you know, and that's the other nice thing about being self-employed with photography and things is I can pick and choose what I do. We can set, but then you have to hold yourself accountable. So you guys were talking a lot about planning. That is something that I'm working on doing. I think that is where a lot of my unsettledness has been is unless I have a deadline, I can procrastinate and then I get in my head and then I see all the tasks I have to do and then I get overwhelmed.
Yeah. I think a lot of us get that way. Yeah.
But Mixer just has had like I'll just use an example, Stormbreaker. Number one, he's very handsome. He's a very awesome guy. But he followed me on Twitter and I went into his chat and he had 600 people in his chat. He saw me and said hi, that he was excited to have me there. I'd never been in his chat before. He's a partner. You know, on Twitch, I would have, number one, probably not been recognized, or it would have just been a hi.
Yeah.
Then he's like, when are we playing Fortnite? Or do you play Fortnite? I said, yes. He said, when are we playing together? I went to a stream the next day.
Yeah.
Right. Went to a stream the next day. He invited me to play, and he was on the front page center feature after Ninja.
Yeah.
I'm in the game playing with him. And he was just a regular guy.
Yeah.
And that's it's like, yes, we get excited for staff and partners and stuff, but it's being able to show that, you know, obviously there's going to be some sour apples, but there are, I feel like, just more of people that see it as a community. I don't have to be in all these individual communities in Discords and on Twitter and retweeting and hashtagging. I can just go into streams of people that I enjoy, that I'm getting to know, and I can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch, it just became this numbers game, and it became this popularity contest, and it's not like that for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's what it became for me. And Mixer just feels, I'm going to steer away from that family term still, but it feels more like a close-knit community as a whole versus segregated different communities that are getting jealous of each other or working. Oh, you created a Discord. Oh, you have that same channel in your Discord as I have. Like, there are like no original ideas, people. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and the other, and I think I said this before, the way I described it, the difference is Mixer feels like the mom and pop shop versus like Twitch is like the mega corporation, right?
Well, I said it's like moving from LA to back to Ohio.
Yeah.
I feel like I have experience. I'm a little bit of, you know, I have that behind me already. And I didn't actually apply for that that program where, like, if you had a following before, because I wanted to reach the goals of partner on Mixer first, just to show myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
And I will eventually apply, but I'm not telling people when I apply, so don't ask me. Because that became a huge stigma on Twitch too. It's like, when are you applying? Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? And 5 weeks of having people come into my stream asking if I got it or not. It's emotionally exhausting. Yeah,
that's why I never told anybody except my immediate community.
Mods or immediate community. Yeah.
So we do have to move on to questions.
No, that's fine. We got it.
We're gonna. So I'm not gonna take you for much longer. I know I promised you not that much time, but so we'll take like 15 minutes to answer questions.
I'm free all night, girl. I'm free all night.
I am not.
Got me as long as okay. I'm just saying, you got me as long as you want me.
You are so sweet. You are so, and I will pay you back tomorrow. Especially because I don't have to work on Fridays, so you have me. But
tomorrow's Thursday. Oh, you mean because
I'm fast forwarding a lot. Okay, so let me ! You guys, if you guys have questions, I will cut them off after a little while because I want to make sure that Video Game Diva answers them. Also, she's clearly fucking coming back. She's gonna be here a lot, and we're gonna be talking. So whatever she doesn't answer now, there'll be another show. I'm sorry, I'm deciding for you that you're coming onto my show, but fine. You know. Okay, so the questions we have so far, that girl Bryce asked, new platform, who this? This was clearly a test question. Okay, your hair looks magical. How did you do it? Estai Tumagatsu.
Cliff's Notes version, I started out doing bleach bath. But this last time I actually bleached it myself. And then I literally just did pink on the top half, blue on the bottom half. Arctic Fox is the brand. It didn't take originally. There was actually a bleach line in the middle, and I looked like a bomb pop. If any of you know what a bomb pop is. And if it was 4th of July, I might have kept it. So then I went back over. I went up higher with the blue, and then I used a purple shampoo, and I just kind of lucked out.
It's really good. It does not look like you lucked out. It looks very profesh. Amazing. Okay, so we talked about before about maybe making a movie about your life. If that was a thing, 8-Bit Ninja asks, who would play you?
I guess we're deciding what part of my life.
Okay, I mean, let's say adult.
I love Sandra Bullock.
Well, okay, but that's like older. She's older. I know it's hard to believe, but she's like older now. So who?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Ooh.
Because I'm quirky and awkward and weird, and I think she's amazing.
You know, that's my pick too.
Really? Yeah. Stop it.
She'll play both of us. It works. I'm not backing down from that. It works. She could play both of us in 2 different biopics. She's amazing. She can do anything she wants. Yeah, it's fine. We can both cast her. Oh my gosh. I love Sandra Bullock. I'm just saying it's a little bit, maybe a little bit, you know, she's now older. I'm sorry to tell you. Miss Congeniality is still one of my favorite movies. Yeah, TD Bell, that's my pick too. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Talisman asks, what advice would you give someone in a bad relationship that needs to get out?
I mean, that's kind of a loaded question. It depends on what is bad about that relationship. It depends on if you're both open to going to therapy. I would always advise if you feel like the relationship is worth it.
So you're going back to make it work no matter what.
That's always my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a give it up person, but if you have seen red flags, like the main thing I always say is notice your red flags and mostly trust your gut. Your gut is usually right, but if the person is willing to go to therapy, as long as there is no like emotional abuse or physical abuse that's happening.
Right.
In my opinion, I'm sorry, everybody may not agree, but if there's physical abuse, it's done. If there's cheating, there are very few ever chances I will give for cheating, because once that trust is lost,
oh yeah,
you always have that self-doubt in the back of your mind.
Yep.
And I would personally never be able to deal with cheating. Some people have been able to deal with that, but if they're not willing to go to therapy, then they're at a point where they're not willing to grow as a person. As long as you're not trying to change that person and they're willing to open up and work on the things that they need to work on. The thing that people don't realize is you need to be yourself and they need to be themselves, and then you need to come together. This whole 50-50 BS is not what it's about. And you have to make sure that you're close to on the same page. And it doesn't matter how much you love somebody. Like my last relationship, we weren't on the same page. We loved each other. Yeah. And I still miss him. Yeah. And I still love him, but we were on different paths and we wanted different things. And it probably was better that the way that things happened, because as much of a shock as it was, I was a little bit in denial about things, and I did kind of have a little bit of blinders on to the problems that were there, because other things in me were being fulfilled that hadn't been fulfilled before. To make sure that when you're in a relationship, you're not just accepting things the way they are because you're getting something that you didn't get from a previous relationship.
Right. It's all work. And as somebody who's been in a relationship almost for 11 years now with the same person, it's work. I got
make sure that you're not just in the honeymoon period. Like make sure you're not just getting out of the honeymoon period too. And you're like, well, shit, relationships are kind of boring. They get to a boring part.
Are, because life is boring. Most of it is really boring. It's not what people lead you to believe based on their freaking Facebooks.
And if they're boring, then it probably means it's good. Number one.
I agree.
A lot of us are used to drama, either because of our parents' past or because of other things. So honestly, if things are chill and normal and you feel like you're in a rut, then it's probably going well, because you both are going about your lives. And a lot of us have this need for drama because of TV or whatever else that we're watching. So it's work though. And if the person isn't willing to put the work in, that's where, like, when you have anxiety and self-doubt, it can be really hard, because then you're like, well, I'm not doing enough then. And then you start doing too much, and then you can actually push them away.
The next question is, do you have a steady support structure now, asks 8-Bit Ninja, or do you have to still rely on yourself?
Mostly myself. And that is the hardest thing in my day-to-day life. My mom and sister have come through here and there, but I usually feel like I'm guilt tripping them. If I had a better support system, I'd probably be at PAX West this weekend. And that's the hardest thing, is FOMO.
Yeah. Oh my God, FOMO. I'm experiencing it hard. I was just talking about that.
Wondering how I'm ever going to meet somebody, because the dating apps suck. And I'm going to be honest, I have dabbled in them recently, and most of them are dumb.
You know, I have to say, and I totally understand where you're coming from, because you've definitely been burned several times, but I know I can name 4 relationships off the top of my head of people who are happily married that are my friends that met through dating apps.
I'm open to it. I'm open to it, and I have been, but I think because of the ghosting in the past, and I mean, some of these conversations, they'd make for a great stream, is all I have to say.
Oh, like a relationship talk stream? Let's do it.
And also the fact that I'm a streamer, and like when to bring that up and when to tell them.
Yeah.
Because then it's like I'm opening myself up, because I'm very vulnerable and open, which I am anyways. But texting is a lot different than talking in person, and it's a lot different than meeting in person. And it's like, when do you give your phone number out? When do you actually go on a date? And I'm very protective of my children, especially since what I've been through lately.
Of course.
But yeah, I really don't have a lot of support. I mostly rely on myself. Everything around my house I do on a day-to-day basis is myself. My mom and sister did watch my kids for me because my babysitter backed out the last minute for my birthday over the weekend. But besides that, they'll probably watch them for TwitchCon, and then that's it for me.
Yeah.
Which is hard because photography season's coming up. So I'm going to have to pay a babysitter
Yeah.
to be able to do my photo shoots.
Yep.
Which is why I've relied so much on streaming.
Yeah. That's the income. That's that other piece of income you need. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So we have one other question, and then I'm going to let you go for tonight. For tonight, not forever. Not forever. How do you handle? So Bloody Nux asked, how do you handle your thoughts being low, especially when you feel so high and suddenly then feel low? How do you handle the setbacks? Do you throw yourself into your work more, or do you start planning for every contingency?
That's something that you and I were kind of like, I meant to touch on tonight, actually, was it is very difficult to go through highs and lows like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually, like, it makes me go into the point of, like, you know, the mixture of depression and anxiety, and then having to be a mom and having to take care of all of these things. And I don't really know how I deal with it. I don't have like set advice or set anything besides just making sure you're taking care of yourself, focusing on your actual human needs first, eating properly, drinking water, getting sleep. Sleep deprivation is one of the worst things that you can do to yourself when you're going through stress. And that is something that I'm really bad about because I've gotten kind of a self-imposed insomnia, if that makes any sense, because when my kids are asleep, I try to get the most out of my time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I haven't finished Orange is the New Black yet, or I haven't been in this person's dream enough, and I got to do it. But then when my kids are awake, I got to be awake too. And now I'm taking them to school. And
yeah.
So schedule, sleep, water, taking care of yourself. And I'm trying to get to that point because when you take care of things, it will give you that relief of, okay, at least I did the dishes today, or at least I did my laundry. I went to the gas station, or I did this. Just giving yourself those little victories and celebrating those little victories for yourself. Yeah. Because we're not going to have a ton of those huge victories. I've had a lot of those and it has been overwhelming for me, but I've been living it up as much as I can. Now, I haven't been afraid to share it on social media. I normally would have been afraid, but I kind of have gotten to the point where I don't care as much what other people think. It has been my biggest downfall is caring what other people think, but things have been going so good and I went through so much shit and I went caring what others thought for so long that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy myself and I'm going to be freaking proud of myself for the shit that I'm accomplishing right now.
Hell yeah.
And I'm going to share it.
Yep.
And it comes through, you know, and then people are excited and then it gets people hyped and pumped. And that's, I think, why this train is going the way it's going, because I am believing in myself and people resonate with that. People want to be around positive energy and they want to be around realness as well, because I'm not always 100%.
Yep.
And I've had a couple streams even on Mixer where I'm not like super hype. We're just playing a game and we're talking and we're chilling. But then I have some streams where literally it's Napoleon, kazoo, puppet, etc. Oh, sorry.
I'm kidding.
But I feed off of the energy that's around me. I'm an empath. I don't know what you guys think about that, but
I think that I'm an empath and I use that word a lot. And usually people are like, what does that mean? So yeah, that's what I think.
100% surround yourself with good people. Take out the trash. Don't allow the negativity of others to affect you. Be yourself, but also like it's finding balance. Like making sure the posts that you're doing on social media or the things that you're doing are things that you believe in. Don't do things just because you think they're what others want you to do.
Yeah.
Play the games that you want to play. Find your schedule. Find what sets you apart that makes you different, and just go with it. And if it doesn't work, then find something else.
Heck yeah. Oh my gosh, you are beautiful. How do people find you?
Mixer.com/videogamediva, Twitter.com/videogamediva_. Those are the two most platforms I'm on. I am on Instagram as well. So Twitch and Twitter are videogamediva_. Everything else is videogamediva.
Okay. I have your Twitter link and I have your Mixer link. That's what's going up. So you guys
have a YouTube, which I'm hoping with our interview and the other stuff, I'm going to be doing a talk show, and it's going to be kind of these deep conversations, going deep with Diva. We like to be a little cringy too. Talking about the really scary open conversations that people are afraid to talk about. Opening up, being vulnerable, talking about politics, religion, life, relationships, all of that, and getting like deep nitty-gritty about it.
I love it. I love it so, so much. You are absolutely fantastic, fantastic to have on. All the technical issues in the beginning, totally worth every moment that we got
And
to
my
spend
shitty
together.
lighting aside, and
Your lighting is, I've seen worse lighting and I've had worse mics on this show.
perfectionist.
It's okay. I mean, you can be a perfectionist all you want, but I can also give you compliments. So,
I love your face.
you guys, this was absolutely phenomenal. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope to see you guys next Wednesday when we're back. We're not doing an interview. We're going to be talking about, come by and find out what we're going to be talking about. I absolutely adore everybody.
Twitter.
Yes. Please do follow the crap out of me on Twitter. That's the best way. That's the best place to find me at any given moment. I believe we have the. Do we have the command here?
Also, thank you for
Yes.
being the first ever person to have me on interview.
And you're my first ever Mixer interview.
I've been streaming for almost 2 years, and I've had people say they want to interview me, but you're the first person to ever follow through. So-
I am serious. I take this very seriously. This is my second
That's good.
job. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Major advice right there. Follow through, people.
Yeah, be reliable. Ugh. But why you do this? I don't know why bot do this. It's pissing me off too. Matt, thank you so much for telling me a fresh show. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to host somebody, so please stick around for a few moments. And don't forget to be the light. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Bye. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.